Well, to say hey all. We're here
Been
again to randomly chat. We'll try and stay on topic. Well, I will, but I usually rant off. So
aye, but it's a on single topic this time. The release
yeah,
of Warhammer 3.
yes, and we can talk about this because I've banged in a nice few hours on it, and so have you. I think a lot of people are disappointed in mixed reviews on Steam.
Yeah, I was actually just going to bring up the old reviews for this because there was initially on release, of course, there were a lot of review bombs coming in from a whole variety of reasons, but one of the most common ones I've seen actually is, I'm just noticing there's one about Denuvo on it, but the most common ones I've seen are about performance issues. I've just got to ask, have you hit that many performance issues in this?
I was talking on a stream last night to a gentleman, and what I don't get, right, and then this is my point now, is it uses the same engine as Warhammer 2, yeah? Yeah, it's 32, the total war, 64 plus 32 Warscape Siege. Bloody engine, right? Not Siege engine, you know what I mean? Thing engine, right? Now, when I play in the game, I don't understand. It doesn't look no different from Warhammer 2. Now, granted, there's a lot more things maybe going on the actual map itself. But I don't understand why it took such a massive performance hit on my PC. Do you get what I mean? Because obviously, a few of you know that I upgraded my PC recently. With the new processor, etc., like that, so I could get the most out of my graphics card. But anyway, but when I benchmarked Warhammer 2, I was easily getting between 80 to 90 frames a second, right? Now on Warhammer 3, it's got all the way down to 40 to 50 frames a second, and that's not even on
consistent
Ultra.
Though.
Is that
consistently though, or is that just occasional drops?
Consistently. It might get up to 60 frames a second, and that's not even playing on the highest level. Now on the highest on Warhammer 2, that's what I was getting, and I don't understand why it's that much of a drop, like, you know, because I thought it might be about a 10 frames or, you know, something like that, but you know what I mean, I don't see no graphical enhancement to the game itself.
One of the things I have noticed that is quite different is actually the amount of inclusions, the amount of effects on the campaign maps. Because playing on most battles, I haven't noticed any huge frame rate drops. It's typically been on the campaign map. If anything's gone wrong, it's been there. But the only big issue, because like having the occasional frame drop really doesn't bother me that much.
No, it's not an issue because you could only stream in 60 frames a second anyway.
Well, even if you're just playing, it's just not that big an issue for me. But one thing I did notice was the load times. Load times are horrendous when you first load up a campaign. Because I was quite lucky. I actually managed to do a stream playing all the different campaigns, minus Kislev technically, because I was already doing that. But the second campaign I loaded, and the third, and the fourth, and fifth, they all went way, way quicker compared to the very first one, which, I mean, it was just like minutes, literal minutes of waiting.
I'm lucky on that sense because I downloaded the game on an M2 SSD 1000 terabyte. But my load times go really quick.
That's a very good question. I can't remember where I installed it because the file size was huge. So I was like running around trying to find space for it.
So when I upgraded my PC, I were going to get one. I didn't even realize they come in small chips. That's how much I know about PCs, yeah? I just thought an SSD drive was just a small version of it, like when he explained to me,
M2s are tiny. They just go direct on your motherboard.
Yeah,
I'm loving them.
Just up for my graphics card now. But I don't have an issue with load times on mine. My load times are pucker. And I think that might be down to the, I don't know.
Okay, mine is installed on my hard drive, not my... I'll have to switch it over at some point. See if that improves
maybe that's
it.
why then, because when I had mine, even on a normal SSD, which I had Warhammer 2 on, the loading was still a bit ridiculous. But when I put it onto the M2 SSD, I realised how dramatic. When the guy said it'll help in loading time, he said, I'm telling you one now, and I thought, oh, really, will it help that much? I was very surprised how much it helped, you know.
It definitely does make a difference. I have an M2 for my operating system and a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, it does improve it quite significantly. I hadn't realised it shows you how big the file size is that I ended up having to put it onto a hard drive.
Well, that's it. Lucky enough, I had to twist the missus' arms because when I went there, I said, oh, can I have this? He said, oh, I got one of these as well. You interested in one of these? And I was like, oh, I don't know. He said, how much is that? 140. I was like,
worth the investment.
And I was like, I ain't talking to the missus saying, oh, well, you know, I don't. She said, just have it. I said, okay, cheers. Rung him up, I'll have that put in as well too, but yeah, but it does make a hell of a difference.
So what to bring up, so performance possibly negligible if we go ahead and switch that onto SSDs. You're saying the loads ain't too bad. From a hard drive, it's brutal on your first one.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But if any advice, if you've got an SSD, or if you can afford to buy an SSD or anything like that, and you're wondering why, you know what I mean? If you haven't got the money, that's fair enough. But if you can, my advice is buy an M2 SSD. It still
doesn't explain why there are so many negative reviews. Like, if the only valid thing is that there's performance issues, which is the main ones I've seen. We also see it seems like the copies they gave content creators did not have de novo. Actually, I've seen a statement from a member of CA stating that they actually did. All people playing it had de novo on it. That's the copyright protection system. Stop you cracking the game.
Right, okay, I don't
actually,
that,
reading that could be a big reason why, because that's massively CPU intensive, and Total War is a very CPU intensive game. Which is likely the reason why we've seen, recently there's been a lot of content creators for Total War partnered, and I forget the other one, but they've been receiving copies of Total War Warhammer 3 with an i9 12,900 or something, 12,600, I can't remember the exact model, but it's a brand new i9. So we're talking very high-end CPU.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion they're doing that to try and show the game in the best possible way, and they know that it's running a bit dodgy for a lot of people. And have a sneaky way to make it look better than it should be.
I think it's totally unfair. You know, you know, especially with the prices of graphics cards and everything like that now these days. You know what I mean? They should be able to cater for it. I was talking to the same guy I was on about earlier on yesterday on it, and he said he was talking to one of the developers. And he said to him, well, why on earth have you changed all the map? Why didn't you just build onto the Warhammer 2 map? How much work you would have saved yourself. You know what I mean? Because there was nothing wrong with the Warhammer 2 map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've got to remember this is a separate campaign. This isn't the Immortal Empires campaign. This is a separate one. If you just use the Warhammer 2 map, it wouldn't work because it doesn't contain most of the places, and second of all, it's a when you go into the larger scale maps.
Immortal Empires.
Oh,
build
the
onto that. Yeah, build onto that. You get what I mean? So you've got the Warhammer 2 map, right? So instead of then redoing all that Warhammer 2 map again, well, you've got stage 1. You've got the Warhammer 2 map. The Warhammer 2 map was pucker. There's nothing wrong with that map at all. Then you add then.
Well, two ideas why this might be. First off would be load times. If they are seeing performance issues, as we have so many people saying, they'll be trying to limit the amount of like particle effects going on, because Cathay has crazy amounts of that going on in the Chaos Wastes as well. So I'd imagine they're trying to level that out to get a better performance out of it. But also, it may not work in terms of balance. Because this is, whenever they've done expansions or DLCs that have like focused on an area or gone to larger areas, they tend to change the sizes of regions and...
Yeah, I understand
that's
that.
the main one, but also
hope...
quantities. Like, you know, one region might be split up if you're going in closer, or they might start lumping a bunch of them together to just a capital region.
I hope they don't do that. I don't want to see any of them go. I won't be that disappointed. The map will be huge anyway, but I've seen I've seen a few videos of the actual Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires map come out, and apparently it's bloody huge. Now, these have been leaked images. Whether it's true or not, you don't know. You just take it with a pinch of salt, I suppose. But if they got to sort, if they're going to bring something out, they've got to sort performance out. They've got to sort optimization out, because otherwise they're going to have problem after problem after problem. And you know what it's like, especially when you're fighting Skaven and you're fighting the Skellies. When they blob up on the battlefield, oh my god, it doesn't matter what PC you got.
Granted, but that's always been there. I mean, even looking all the way back at literally all the way back outside of the first two. So I think they ran pretty good, Medieval and Shogun, the originals, but Rome and Medieval 2, they tend to lag up when you have really big armies. Like if you have multiple forces attacking, 20 stack here, you're going to go into a slideshow at some point. Particularly if you're doing a siege, you're like, oh my god. I'm just getting flashbacks of playing Rome 2 when the walls are collapsing.
Yeah.
Not Rome 2, sorry. Original Rome, it just broke it.
The worst siege we ever had, when we were co-oping on Thrones of Britannia.
It's like, we're going to be here for 20 minutes.
On my phone. I'd be there for about an hour. That's all you were doing. It was saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I said, it's not your fault. Putting all the things in.
It was just build a barrier around the gate, and then I'm just going to switch soldiers in and out as they get tired.
Yeah.
We're going to win.
That's it. We're going to win in about 2-3 hours time. We'll win. Oh, that was funny.
Well, that is something to bring up. The brand new sieges.
Yes, I was just about to talk about them. I like them. Some of the maps don't make sense to me. The position of towers, etc., this and that, just stupid. You mean that is like I'm looking. Oh, that'd be a good place to place a tower. I go over there. There's no tower there. There's a bloody barricade there. You get what I mean? I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't you place a tower over there? And I would have liked it with the supply. Where they put the supply things when you catch them, they should be behind.
Yes, that was my huge issue with
not
this.
In bloody front. What's the point in having them in front?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can build this, but they're gonna claim it. So why would I bother? Oh, I can use it somewhere else. Nope. 9 times out of 10, I've found traps. Traps are the best one. Trap walls, because if the enemy walks through them, at least it's damaging them.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. And one mistake I was doing as well, I didn't realize this, right? I couldn't understand, and this is on my Cathay stream, playing on Legendary. I'm playing on Legendary on it, trying to master the game, right? So even though it's stressing me out, man, I'm still trying to stick with it. Well, what I was doing is I was pulling back right to the last capture point, right? The main capture point.
The one that actually matters, the one if you lose it, you lose the settlement.
Yeah, well, what I was pissing doing when I excuse the French was when the Lord was coming in, especially Sinesh now, the Sinesh followers of the flying bird things coming over. They were fighting it like that, but I didn't realise the time clicking at the top of the line. So battles I should have been winning, I was losing due to the fact that I pulled all the way back, and they were spending so much time in the area, and I was fighting them off. They won through
you
that.
got time. Yeah. They got. So interestingly, that hasn't happened to me yet in Warhammer, but it's definitely something I remember back in Shogun 2. Yeah, that mechanic's been there for a while, and it is incredibly annoying because you just automatically lose, even if you have an entire army there.
They'll just say loss, and I'm like, what? And I got pretty much loads of armies, but because the Lord has been in the flying units have been in that area for literally a couple of minutes. And I'm shooting at them and that, bang, and I'm like, oh my god, and then everything's gone, and I'm like, oh my god. Then I clicked then, didn't I? I was thinking I must be doing something wrong here, man.
Well, but it's what gave birth to the sneaky tactics. Like, you get sneaky gits from the goblins because they could go not invisible, but they could move and not be seen. I can't remember the stalker or something. But you'd be able to put all your army on one side, the enemy AI will build up on that side, and then you just sneak them in, claim the capture point, and you win.
Yeah.
And I really thought they would have changed that to just a big old, like, morale drop. I actually thought they did, but I must have been looking at some of the other capture points then. The main one is just automatic gone.
Yeah, it's just automatic. Well, that's from my experience anyway, and that's why I was losing battles left, right, and centre. And I was, well, not left, right, and centre, but especially, and I was thinking, oh, I get this, I'll pull back. I don't want to lose too much because in the Cathay campaign, when the wall gets breached, you have bloody tons of marauders coming down. So you'll have battle after battle. I think I played one turn, I must have had about 7 battles in one turn. You know what I mean? And just like
constant defense.
Beating up, and yeah, constant defense, and it'd go down all the way down to me using my Dragon Lord with the Spear of Bane, the Spear of Bane thing on it. And what you do, you click it when you're over it, and it dramatically drops the enemy. I said the Spear of Bane or something like that. But you float over them, and it just destroys, and it's really strong. So by the end of, say, the 6th battle, all my units are gone because I've been battling one after another, after another, after another. And then I'm there flying around my bloody dragon, and then I'm having to go to the floor, go to the one corner floor because it's saying you can't hold ground because you're a flying unit. Wait for them to run up to me, go back into a dragon, and then I'm there like for like half hour, 45 minutes, like just draining them down, draining them down. And I figured I can't lose. There's one army left. Like I can't lose. Like, you know, and I bet it's not very entertaining to watch, but you know. But I think sieges have got better, but I think they need to.
Well, what I was going to bring up actually is the AI pathfinding. We've seen again a return. I've actually seen people saying this is the Rome 2 launch that the fantasy fans deserve. And I was like, mate, what are you chatting? This is still way better than Rome 2.
Yeah,
but
it's still way
I have
better
seen
than
a
Rome 2,
repeat of the like stringing out of units into single file along the edges of settlement buildings, or even when it goes up to like not the full-blown sieges, but just like the smaller, lower level settlement ones, like wrapping around things with your army.
Yep.
I was kind of expecting, because we saw that with the Rome remaster as well. I was sort of thinking they would fix that a little, you know? I mean, they essentially had a bit of a dry run with the Rome remaster. It's guaranteed sale. So is Warhammer 3, really, but
yeah,
it was supposed to be the big one. This was going to be the big sale, the push to it.
I've had loads of people come on my thing asking my opinion for Warhammer 3, and I'm thinking, what do you think about it? I'll tell them my opinion. Yeah, I enjoy the game. You know what I mean? I enjoy all the Warhammer games. I love the Warhammer games. Like I remember when I first seen the first trailer of Warhammer 1, and I was like, I'm in love with this. That is beast. You know what I mean? An army of Karl Franz facing down, you know, the green skins.
Wait, an army of Karl Franz, just 20 Karl Franz.
Well, you know what I mean? Karl Franz army.
Oh, like, no, I want to see that army.
But I think, I don't know where. I think in some aspects it might be good that it's got mixed reviews, because what that can show then is like there's problems that need to be sorted out. So it gives because the thing is, see, unless they're told, they're not going to sort it, are they?
Yeah, it gives a bit of a kick up the backside.
So it's good. Yeah, so it's good that people are complaining about it, the performance issues. And I think that there's a few other bits and bobs, but it's always the same when a game first comes out, isn't it? You get what I mean? In a lot of senses, you know, it's always something that they've missed.
That's not really cushy for a ridiculously expensive game.
No, you're absolutely correct there. You're absolutely correct. But as long as they get on it ASAP and sort the problem out ASAP, and they listen to the people's, you know, I suppose I can forgive a small room of error. I can forgive that as long as they sort it out and get it sorted and don't give no cockamamie excuse.
No doubt there will be.
I've used that word in a long time.
No, I do think this links into the whole. So many games now are being released unfinished because they're expected to be added to, patched, updated. I mean, just this morning, I didn't stream this morning because the game didn't install. Sorry, the update didn't install. It was a very large. Well, I hope it was very large. Otherwise, apparently, I have like 0 space left on my hard drives because there was no space for it. Had to clear a bunch out. Finally got it installed, which took me until. God, I think I loaded up around 8. Yeah, about 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. And I wasn't finished installing until around about 12.
Oh, nice.
It's
I don't know if
ridiculous.
it's updated on mine.
If it isn't, get it updated.
That?
Which, actually, it does bring up a bit of a problem because, of course, I wanted to talk about a few parts of this game that may actually be patched out now. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to play it since.
I'm now going to look to see if mine, because I did see that they were on Steam, that they were bringing out a performance patch. Mm-hmm. Is that what you had downloaded, a performance patch, is it?
Okay, have a look, see what it was. But
I got a patch here, 1.0.1.
Yes.
That's
oh my god,
it
was only 520 meg. Why did that not install? I had multiple gigs for it. I don't know. Either way, it went messy. But this is kind of going back to what I was saying, the whole it's going to be patched, it's going to be improved later. But then why was it released in that state? Surely, you know, these are all things that you notice within the first hour of playing. Like, I'm sure you noticed when you first loaded up and gave a go, oh, look, we're not moving around the settlement properly. Or, big one for me, oh, look, cavalry doesn't work. Cavalry is completely destroyed in this. And there was a great video on Reddit, actually, of, I think it was four of the chariots of Slaanesh hitting into Nobblers, so the weakest unit of the Ogre Kingdoms, and they couldn't break them. They had to continually multiple charges through the unit, and it was lucky if they could get through it, which is part of the problem I have, which was cavalry so much. Really, well, it's made the units, particularly for Slaanesh,
pointless,
almost unusable.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. Yeah, and it's like what I've noticed in a lot of Total War games, especially Warhammer, is doom stacking. Right now, I haven't got a problem with doom stacking, but me as a player, I like to use variety in an army, right?
Yeah, but you can't use variety because the cavalry doesn't work.
That's my point. You can't use a variety because the variety you want to use is ineffective. So the only effective way you got to play it is using a bloody doom stack. So you pick one unit.
Well, you don't need to use a doom stack. There's still plenty of options there. It's just I'm now relying on infantry, playing as Kislev, because the leopards get stuck. They're in the middle of the unit, and when you try to get them out, we used to be able to push things aside. Not the best example with a snow leopard, but when you're a giant ass bear, I mean, you're 3-4 times the height of most of the units, weighing like 150 times per man. You should be able to just knock through zombies and not even care about it, rather than getting lumped in. And because you're moving, you're not defending, so you're taking full damage when you're trying to move out the way of them. You're just getting all your cavalry destroyed and your heroes destroyed.
It's a shame because Warhammer, they have got some of the most awesome cavalry in the entire franchise, in the entire Total War franchise. You know, Demi-Griff Knights, you know, you got the Blood Knights, you got
I can't remember the name of them, the ogre one.
Yeah.
It's like giant mammoths.
I know, awesome. And they've got such a variety of good things to use, yet they're so ineffective. You want to use them, but then you're thinking, well, if I buy them, they're just going to be crap. So they're making it ineffective to use all these cool and animated bloody. They spend all this time on this animation, on these cool effects, on this, you know, on the. When it comes to the battlefield, they're crap.
Well, actually, on the note of animation, there was a hilarious one going around. Once was on Reddit of, was it? I think it was 2 ogres Might have been 2 humans though, I can't fully remember. But they had 2 characters, single entity characters, and the point was that when they were trying to attack each other, their attacks moved them past the enemy, so they actually didn't connect. So they were like swinging over each other and just turning round and then going at it again. It's like, wow, you've completely ruined dueling, and I would never have noticed this because I don't zoom in.
No, I don't. I very rarely zoom in. But that's it. You know what I mean? I find that as well, not just that. I find the demon factions as well. Now, but granted, I believe that demons should be powerful, right? They're from another dimension. Yeah. On there, everything like that. They should be more powerful.
Well, they should be powerful, but based upon their god.
Yeah, based upon their god, right? But what winds me up is you've got like those little minion ones, right? Mm-hmm. Know what I mean? And
like the horrors, the nurglings.
They should be able to be wiped apart pretty. They should be like the low tier little, garbage things.
They should be zombies. They're a tar pit. That's how you play them. They're only good en masse.
But then I'm playing it yesterday, and I won the battle, decisive battle, anything like that. But God, the life I had, what are they called? The armored, Kislev armored.
What, armored Kossars?
That's the ones, yeah. Now they got
they're
armored
rubbish.
of 80.
Kossars are rubbish. Absolute
crap,
garbage.
Man.
Yeah, the only units to get
and
from that entire chain is the top tier, the Stritzels, I think they're called, but the riflemen, they're good.
Yeah, I bought some. Yeah, I got some of them. Yeah.
But apart from that, you need to go for the Queen's Guard or the Ice Guard.
Yeah.
All the other infantry just sucks. I'm so disappointed in that because they should be good. They're armored. They're fully armored with axes. They have pistols. They've got shields. Nah.
Yeah, and you got these little demon things running up to them, man, and they're taking a lot of damage, man. I thinking, wow, should you be taking? It comes to the point. It comes to the point there where you're fighting a battle that you shouldn't be taking no damage, relatively damage on. You know what I mean? But I think the matchmaking in the game is broken. I think the matchmaking in the game is broken. I think optimization.
What I should ask is, if you're on about chaos, can you remember which god?
It's Khorne.
Against Khorne.
Okay. We're actually against Khorne himself, but it was actually against the. You get what I mean?
Yeah, against the Khorne.
I was shutting a rift down. I was. It was right next to my settlement. The little small armies you get.
Yeah. But I was thinking with Khorne, they're supposed to be lightly armored, although they do have a warp save. All chaos should have some kind of warp save. I haven't looked that much into it to discern if that's right or not, but that's the law.
Yeah.
But no, they should be very heavy damage, but relatively weak. Like, they're good at the melee, obviously melee attack, melee defense, but because they have no armor, you should be able to strip them with range.
Well, that's the thing, see, is like what I've learned over the Warhammer games, and what I've learned completely differently to all the other Total War games, is obviously the variety of troops that you have to face up against, right? Now, you can't just go scrambling around the Warhammer world with one army unless it's a Doom stack that can
you've
react
got
in any different situation. You know what I mean? It's like what I used to do if I used to fight the vampire counts of Warhammer 2, and I learned to bring fire. A fire wizard is better than any other wizard. If I'm fighting against the dwarfs, the best thing to do is bring armor piercing. You know what I mean? Because even the low tier units got armor piercing. Now, with those armor piercing units, you should be able to slaughter the armor piercing. The armor should be relatively ineffective, depending on how much armor you got. You get what I mean? So if something without no armor and you've got armor, they should be pretty much, taken out pretty much straight away, like to a degree. Within reason, obviously, because they're still demons of chaos. But I think it's broken, man. And it's like I'm looking at, and the auto resolve as well is crap. That's one thing I'll say about it, right? It is absolute crap. It's like I like to sometimes be lazy, right? Yeah, lazy on the game, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's the enemy on it. Right, I'll be lazy, and I think, then after that I should have fought that battle. I could have done better. But it gives you a valiant defeat you go on it and you know what I mean. You actually decisively beat them, like, and the power on it when you go on to the actual power, the thing of the power at the top, is all in favor of you.
Is this, and this is an important question, is this on Legendary?
This on Legendary, yeah.
Legendary actually does change the odds. Yeah, I'd always suspected it, but with Warhammer 2, I actually sat down and like took screenshots and compared them, and yeah, it does actually change the odds against you.
So you've got to fight there.
Yeah. On Legendary, unless it's giving you the victory, which if you have typically high armored units, you're going to be able to auto-resolve to victory. But most of the units of like Kislev and... Well, actually, what are they called? Grand Cathay actually does have quite a lot of armored units, but it depends what you're recruiting.
I found them all right, Grand Cathay. They were fun to play.
I like really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed them. I think they got some really good units.
I just like the way that the whole thing comes together.
No, didn't like that. The Ice Queen.
Yeah, I was actually really disappointed with her campaign so far. She is
absolutely crap, man.
She gets rinsed. She gets absolutely riddled, and she doesn't even have that good of spells. The better spells are on the Tempest, and she's snow.
I know the Tempest spells are a lot better.
You want the improvement to your accuracy, which you get via Tempest, but with her you can slow the enemy down.
Yeah.
Cool. Like,
it's really disappointing, you know what I mean? It should be fire and ice, and if fire should be, fire and ice should be relatively the same strength because it's an opposition. You know what I mean? So ice magic should technically be really one of the strongest magics in the game. You know what I mean? Especially against fire and corn and stuff like that. I think they need to take that into perspective if they're playing against, like, say, corn or something like that. Or something, they should be able to...
Corn is blood.
Blood, yeah, blood,
not
yeah.
so much fire.
I just call it red, blood. I don't know, but you know what I mean? I know he's a blood god, yeah. But they should take that into perspective because fire is really powerful. It can be really, really powerful. Ice is crap, man. It's absolute crap. It's rubbish. You know what I mean? And there's nothing more satisfying. It's like with when I was playing Cathay. You know what I mean? Just is the breath of the dragon breath itself is more powerful than all her magic. Does more damage, and then as soon as you have those,
what was actually the most disappointing. Finally, managed to get her on a bear. You're thinking, all right, sweet, giant bear, magic wielder. This is like the perfect combo. Nothing's gonna touch them. They've got the melee, they've got the range. Still getting rinsed in melee combat.
Yeah, absolute rinse. It's like I usually push them forward, my wizards, in battle. Try and do as much damage as I can before they come to the range unit. So when they do come into melee, and hopefully they're so debilitated that they don't get an easy pursue. But like you say, when you're trying to micromanage large armies, you know what I mean? You could take the eye off a ball a bit, and then you realise then, oh, my lord's in battle. So she'll be right for a minute. Yeah, turn away, go do something, turn back. She's nearly dead. And I'm thinking, get it up. You know what I mean? I think, God.
No, this is the problem because it links into that entity movement. When you're trying to pull out a single entity, they can't because they get tar pitted in. It's exactly the same with the cavalry situation. If you're in the middle of a unit, you cannot escape anymore. It's just, even on a bear, you've just got to like write them off. Okay, that unit is gone. If I try to pull them out, they'll die quicker. At least if I leave them there's a chance I can get in, hopefully, before they get in.
So what I'm doing then is I'm dropping magic on all the units around her to try and break them up so I can get it out. You know what I mean? And then I'm concentrating on that then, and it's just taking me away from something else in the battle.
Hammered.
So, and so I'm like, I run up, do battles, do the magic, right, okay, behind the line. You stay in here. It's all your job is magic. You and the magic ain't good. You're not even going to bother fighting the crappy little ones. You know, because she just gets rinsed, doesn't she? So that is disappointing, like, because on the trailer she looked quite powerful, didn't she?
Well, I was actually going to bring up for the... Obviously, the battles are annoying and the fact that her magic is pretty rubbish. But the actual mechanics, what did you make of the campaign mechanics with her? Because because you have the ice court and like Amantrans. You can appoint governors, basically.
Some of that I like. It reminded me obviously of Troy, of Hector and his brother. Yeah, you're kind of racing for that your thing. I didn't really get it at first. I was confused. I was thinking.
No, I didn't realize that it really is. You have to separate the Lord. Once you put them in that position, you're aiming to get the bonuses and the events on them. Like I even started to think maybe you're supposed to use that as like training time to like develop good traits to get them into combat later. No, they're just very good at doing their job if you leave them long enough to train up. But I will say that the Ice Court one, that one I did think actually is really good. I'd love to see that.
Talking about different things now.
Oh no, this is the two mechanics for them. You have the governor system.
Yeah, I got that right.
Which is all right.
The orthodox system, the one that goes up. You know what I mean? Where you got to get.
No, this is the governor. So I think
the
it's called like
system. I like that.
Yeah, so you get little bonuses by appointing a general to be a governor.
Yeah.
The other one is the Ice Court. The Ice Court is when you try to recruit a ice maiden.
The Ice Court.
Or the other one.
And then you put him into training.
Yeah, that's what I love. I love the upgrade system for it and like tailoring the character.
The other one as well, well, I was thought we was talking about it first, is the what do you call it? When you're going against the Orthodox.
Oh, the faith thing.
Yeah, on the top.
Yeah.
In the thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of, like I said, Hector and Troy on Troy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're racing to the top. I didn't really get that at first.
I mean, I like the bonuses you get from it, invoking the motherland, but I'm waiting to see what happens at the end of that, because I'm sure they must be like something big at the end. Like if you don't beat them to the top, then they have like massive stacks of soldiers come up and rebel against you or something. But right now it seems kind of lackluster. Like there's not really, I haven't really been focusing. I'm playing on normal, but I haven't really been focusing on it, and I'm still beating them massively.
Yeah, I haven't been focused on it. I've been building buildings and I had to put things into it, but I was losing at first. Now I'm winning. Well, I don't exactly 100% know what I'm doing.
I'm gonna guess the point you started winning was just you started invoking the motherland, because that was literally what happened for me. It was like, oh wait, I can press this button.
Invoking the motherland, and I'm like,
it's like,
how did I do that? How did I do that? Well, what am I doing to do that? I'm there on my screen, like, oh, right. So then I realized, and that's the things you invoke. Doing that. Yeah,
you have the four choices. One's for characters. One's for the one I do is the building one, because you're getting improvements to your income.
Yeah.
There's one for war, and there's one more I can't remember.
For growth, and I think it's for growth and stuff like that.
Growth?
Or was that on the? That might be on. I wish I had a better memory, man.
Yeah, I know you have Urson, Drat's the one I always go for, and then you have two more gods who I don't know. I don't care about because I never use them.
Well, I just clicked on one now because I got so many armies in my territory. I clicked on one now to give them diminish their armies in my territory.
Oh yeah. There's one that brings on. I think that might be Urson, maybe.
Yeah, so I done that.
It does attrition.
Weaken the armies. It does. It only seems to be working on certain units and not all of them. So I don't know what's going on with it, unless there's something I'm missing. But yeah,
no, I think it's a mechanic they introduced and they didn't really develop it that well. Like it seems like it should be more important than it is when you're actually playing. There's a lot of it you can ignore.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I felt like, I don't want to ignore this. For some reason, it feels important. Should I ignore it or shouldn't I ignore it?
Yeah, you can't like fully ignore it and just never touch it. Although, if you're willing to deal with the consequence at the end, fair enough. But I don't even know what the consequence is. It could be that just one army builds up. But I'd imagine it would be like a miniature rebellion. But, I mean, I've gotten away with just hitting it every now and then when I remember.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing all right.
That's right. But yeah, the mechanics.
Well, and that's Kislev. How about Grand Cafes?
I think they are pretty grounded, to be honest.
I love them. I love Grand
Yeah,
Cafe.
they're brilliant. They're
Cannot
brilliant.
wait to play
There's
Legendary.
nothing too complicated about them. There's nothing, everything's pretty simple. They got decent units. They have a nice area to start in. I love the. I started to love the what's it called? The trade-in.
That's what I was gonna bring up. I think they need to tutorialize that a little bit better. Like how easy did you find to get into it?
Not that easy at first. I think they should allow more than one caravan to go at once, because later on in the game it becomes it's pointless sending them.
Well, you can recruit a bunch of them, and then you can only use one.
Yeah, I think you should be able to send one.
I think there's a technology, or I only played through it a little bit because I just did like every campaign for like 20-30 minutes tops. There was something about it, but I can't remember if that was you can recruit more or if you can send more.
I think one is to recruit more. I think I got that one. I ain't 100% mine, but I can remember clicking on one to recruit another one. But Grand Cathay, yeah, I think they're good. They're a lot better than Kislev. Kislev, I am disappointed in. To be able to be on the front line against the Chaos of Demons, for the troops that they got is pissing ridiculous, man. I mean, they should be, they should be, if not the most powerfulest man army.
Well,
they should be more powerful than the Empire.
Two changes would make Kislev work, and it's number one, make the Kossars good in melee combat. Yeah. They don't need to be amazing, but they just need to be good. Because right now they suck. They literally couldn't take on a unit of skeletons. I was like, at that point, I'm out. You've failed me. And I can't remember the name of them. It's like Drapstas or something. But the basic cavalry, the very, very first rank, because cavalry doesn't really work, they've kind of become useless. Whereas if you look at the Griffin Legion and the Winged Lancers, they're still pretty darn strong because they have that melee capability. But any use of shock is gone. And I think if those two things change, suddenly you're able to gain a good
advantage.
Yeah, you're able to use a decent fast shock cavalry, and you'll have infantry that could actually hold. It doesn't need to necessarily win, but just hold a line while you bring that cavalry in.
Needs to hold the line while all the other stuff, and that has always been the Empire of Man. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Kislev or anything like that, because at the end of the day, in the world of Warhammer, I mean, when you're fighting an army of greenskins, you're fighting something that's a lot more stronger than a human being, right? Now, in reality, that is true. So you don't need. So what those human factions have gained is like the ability to have
insane levels of faith and devotion.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's basically it. In Sigmar's name, you will stand.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like with the Empire, for instance, you only use it. The Empire infantry is crap. You only use it to hold the line while you shoot it with Hellfire Storm rocket batteries, which absolutely annihilate bloody things, and then use
this was the thing that confused
crossbow
me.
and your handgunners to take them down.
So that's the exact tactic I tried to use with the Kossars, getting them on the flank, like have one up front just fighting, and the other one literally firing in on the flank, and they actually don't do enough damage on the flank. Like I think it's more the speed. Like maybe you need to get every single upgrade for reload time, but it's not quick enough to drop the morale.
Well, that's it, and that's why you need a good use of cavalry, because you have the benefits then of having those debuffs when you hit them in the rear and stuff like that. Now, and I think it is important use of cavalry. I think they have ruined it within the sense of the cavalry are no fun to play with no more.
And this is why I think Grand Cafe gets away with it. Because they're just like, yeah, we don't need cavalry. We have crazy dudes with rockets. We have people flying on air balloons, and we have dragons. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah, but I never even thought about using
good.
cavalry with Grand Cathay.
Exactly. They
I never
have,
thought
like,
about it.
What? They have, like, Pegasus Knights, like, equivalent.
Yeah.
But who cares?
You have
dragons.
Even the basic spear units were good at holding the line. Yeah, they were decent at holding the line. They wouldn't hold the line, but they held the line long enough for me to either re-thing them or do some damage. You know what I mean? But they did all right holding the line, like, you know, and I was happy. I didn't mind having a few of them in my army to hold the line while, you know, everything else got done. And so in that, you know, they've got a well-rounded roster, I think, there.
Well, I should ask, because that links into their yin-yang system. Of course, you're supposed to have a well-rounded army. That didn't work, if you ask me. I would say that the idea of the yin-yang system was you're supposed to have units together to have harmony. But the thing is, you only actually need, you know, if you have 7 units of yin and 1 unit of yang, that's okay, as long as you put them in the middle. Well, that's out of harmony, that's out of balance, that should not be okay. But the game seems to counter.
I never noticed that. I'm just trying to get it as...
Because I would have it, like, massively outbalanced, but it was like, oh yeah, the units still get a bonus.
Well, because you put the unit in the middle of the battlefield.
Well, I put it in the middle of all the other units, and it was like, yeah, that's cool. Sweet.
What, on the battlefield, yeah?
Yeah, actually on the battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah.
Yeah, no, in your campaign, it's different, because you have, like, the buildings, you have technology, and you have characters, and all of them have their own yin and yang, and that's a tricky one. Good fun, actually, to try and balance that out. But on the battlefield...
Right, you're counting them in when you're thinking, right, then I got to have one blade now. I got that.
I did notice straight away, I was just like, oh, I don't even want this technology, but it gives me yin. Cool. Like,
yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
It's me. I've had the last one I had yang, I'll have yin this time. I'll have yin this time, I'll have yang next time. But I suppose that's a good thing, because it gives you... Is it a good thing? Well, yeah, because you open up it all then. But what I learned then through Grand Cathay, I went straight up the middle in the technology tree. Straight up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because if I noticed as I was going through it, I was going to need to lock up, but if you noticed, you can go straight up the middle, straight to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, right, I'm heading straight to the end now, and then everything else then, I can do over time, because that was giving me all the growth, all the money from extra building costs, and extra money from buildings, etc., all this and all the things that were going to benefit me, you know, financially and stuff like that. When it comes to units, you know what I mean, I was just concentrating on what I needed at the time. But I never really tried the war balloons. Did you try that?
What, sorry?
The war balloons, the hot air balloons on Cathay.
War balloons. I've tried them on a custom battle, just because I wanted to see how good they are at, like, just flying over the walls and sieges and stuff. Yeah, they do the job. I was gonna say, this brings us into another point later on. Yeah. But go on, what were you saying about the units then? So how have you found the upgrade path for their roster?
Okay, decent, I suppose. There's a few units in there. Well, I don't think most of the units I enjoyed. And I didn't really, you know, their archers were really good. I mean, even the peasantry archers are really decent, you know. And I didn't mind having an army full of archers and a couple of spears, especially to reinforce a settlement when things were coming down.
Okay, you know? Yeah, there's like a backup garrison rather than a main.
Yeah. But then they were also handy then for cleaning up any, you know, small incursions coming in, stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because if you took a big loss on them, it didn't really matter. They were cheap, so you just build them all back in, you know what I mean? So they were handy to do the job until my main force got back, because obviously with me playing on Legendary, I enjoyed it, but I think I put a bit too much pressure on myself, so I might try a bit lower difficulty until I get the complete hang of what I need to do.
I do think, because I think playing it through on normal right now, that's kind of all I've really done is play normal. it's seeming like you kind of have to push for certain breaks in the game, like the mechanics that don't really work, which I was actually bringing into one of the ones I noticed when I was playing as Nurgle. When I was trying to claim the walls of a settlement, and this works on any difficulty, which is awesome, but you can attack a unit on the wall, and you're actually doing more damage knocking them off the wall than you ever will in combat. Like, you can actually wipe out half a unit pretty much just by flying in and knocking all the units out. Which is cool, and it's something that they've needed to put in, because you couldn't really do that, I think, at all in Warhammer 2. I think when they got... Darn you, algorithm. When they got deleted, they would fly off the wall, but otherwise they would remain on it. Whereas now, it's once more messed up all the balance, because if you have a flying unit fly in with a large enough entity mass, it can actually knock everything off, and just doesn't matter how good they are, they're still gone.
Yeah, but I think that's technically good, because in reality, that's what would happen, wouldn't it?
It is. It is good, and I do like the mechanic is there, but it's, as I was saying, it's like the balance of stuff just isn't there yet. Like, they've kind of thrown it too far one way.
I get what you mean, yeah. Well, we just got to put these points across, haven't we? And I hope they watch this video and stuff like that. Now, these are obviously, this is our opinion, but these are actual problems that are in the game. You know what I mean? So it's not like we have an opinion on this. You know what I mean? I mean, how many hours have I played? I've played 30 hours on it already. Which is, and I played 17 hours in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? Streaming, like, you know what I mean? And I've had to cut it down because it's taking it out.
As I said, people have been saying this is like the balked launch that fantasy fans deserve, and I was looking at it like, mate, this is still a good game. I'm still enjoying it. Like, there are definitely issues with it, but for me, it feels more like balance issues than
It's not major issues, is it? It's not major issues.
The only big ones I have are the cavalry. That needs to be sorted out. And I mean, as I said, performance-wise, if other people are having these big performance issues, of course, that does need to be sorted out. But I can't say I've had anything game-breaking. I've not hit the point where I've been like, all right, this is now genuinely detrimental to my enjoyment of the game.
My game did knock off once.
As in, like, crash?
Once. Playing there.
Show me a Total War game that doesn't crash.
Yeah, but like a guy was saying earlier, he was asking me what I had in my PC. So I told him, and he said, well, I got a 3080 RX 3080, which is one of the best graphics cards out there. And he said, I can't really see much of a difference between my graphics and your graphics, And I'm saying, well, the thing is, like, I'm streaming, I'm only streaming in 60 frames a second. It doesn't matter if I'm going out to 100 frames, I'm playing at 100 frames, I'm only going out to 60 frames a second. And he was like, I can't see much of a difference. Now, with
I was going to say, with them, that's going to be a graphical improvement rather than a frame rate one. Obviously, frame rate will increase, but yeah. Graphically, it should be noticeable. Between those two
but the thing
cards.
is, see, when it comes to graphics on that scale, right, I'm not. I don't know if I haven't got the eye for it, or when I compare games, you know what I mean. People are like, oh, look at the graphic details. I'm thinking, really? It's hardly nothing. What are you moaning about?
I will say one thing.
You know what I mean? You get that's my opinion. That's the way I look at it. And I'm thinking, I understand if the left-hand side was a big green blob, and the right-hand side
like comparing the original Final Fantasy VII to the remaster,
perfectly fine edges, you know what I mean? Everything's look beautiful, like, you know what I mean?
All that stuff,
you put one set of art next to
anti-aliasing that lot. No
you have a Picasso on the right, and then you have a 10-year-old's painting on the left. I'm not saying 10-year-olds ain't good at painting, but you get what I mean.
I think the 10-year-old's going to be better than Picasso.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But you get my point, you know what I mean? It's just
I get what you mean.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? I watch these graphical changes on YouTube, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, man, really? I can't see that much of a difference, you know what I mean? And the prices, you know what I mean? And then they put in a graphics card down to a price of like, say, $400. And then the third one up is like...
Graphics card prices cannot be measured right now. Like, you can't.
No.
It's massively inflated. And it's
stupid,
likely going to be for another few years. There are some people even think it's going to be like 6 years until they go back down. Little extreme, but quite possible though. Now they know people will pay for it, they might well just saying, well, go on. We'll keep them high for a little longer and a bit more dosh.
Yeah, but people are going to pay for it. Yeah, they might do that. So when it comes to performance issues with Warhammer 3 for me, what I like is a nice smooth experience. Now, graphically, the only thing I like on Ultra, even if I could play on Ultra, that's not a problem. But, you know what I mean, I'm only going to get about 30 to 40 frames a second. You get what I mean?
Seems alright by me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But to me, I want that little bit. But what I've done is I've taken off the unnecessary things. Now, when I'm in a battle, I'm not worried about if a pissing tree got a shadow. You know what I mean? Or if this, you know what I mean?
No, this is where it draws the question of, if you're complaining about performance issues, what are you doing? Are you having everything to max and you're using a GTX 500? Like, it's not... That's not going to work. That's not going to work on any modern game. But at the same time, if they're running top-end rigs, then that is an issue. But the problem is, you see in the reviews, it's just, the performance is terrible. What's your rig?
But I haven't noticed the performance terrible. I haven't got a high-end rig. I've got to say a mid-game rig. Yeah, I've got a decent processor. My graphics card is all right. Like, you know what I mean? It's not the worst in the world, but it's not the best either. You know what I mean? I'd say that's a mid-range.
Is anything a good minimum specs should be fine. That's according
mid to
lower
tier graphics. You know, I got the minimum is 16 gig RAM, which I think everyone should have a minimum of 16 gig RAM if they want to play this game. You know what I mean? RAM, I think, is important. And there's a lot of other...
download some more.
It could be down to... This is what I mean. I've learned so much... Was that?
Always download some more. Download your RAM.com.
Yeah. Well, this is internet. I've had 16 gig RAM, but it also comes down to is a resolution. I've learned so much about frames per second, right? Over the years, especially on YouTube, I've learned so much about PCs. I'm not an expert on PCs in any way, shape or form, but I understand the concept of how they work. I understand the concept of frames per second and stuff like this. Now, people need to start looking at, if they're having real performance issues. Now, before I started playing this game, right, I made sure the resolution on my monitor was correct. Yeah. I made sure that my GPU was running to 100%. Right, but not running any over 90 degrees. Okay, so I have my task manager up. My processor's only running to 30-40%, which is good. Yeah, because you don't need a processor running at 100%, you know what I mean? And then I'll go into graphical settings then, and then I will take off things that are not important to me. Now, if you obviously got a low-end rig, then I'm sorry to say, you're not going to be able to play this on Ultra. And if you've got it all on Ultra and you're expecting great performance, you're going to be very disappointed.
No, that was my point. It's more information needs to be given in these reviews.
Yeah, but I understand if someone has got an extremely expensive rig, they've got the top-end graphics, top-end processors, and they're not getting the performance they want. But then, have they actually put out a performance like benchmark? I you know what I mean? What should he be running at?
For Total War, typically you're lucky if you get 60 frames per second. You know Obviously, you can go significantly above them, but given the history of Total War games, I mean, even Attila nowadays is still pretty badly optimized.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is what you got to understand as well. So if you go onto a benchmark, you only get if you've got a high end group and you're getting 70-80 frames a second, then your performance should be really good. You know what I mean? I've got, you know, I mean, my rig is not the best in the world. You know what I mean?
I never care about frame rate. Like anything over 30 FPS is perfectly fine for me. What my problem is only consistent drops. If it's like dropping, going back 5 seconds, then dropping, going back 5 seconds, that's bad because that's staggered gameplay and it makes it really difficult. Smooth, it doesn't have to be 120 FPS. It can be 50 FPS, but the whole way through.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, see, people explain it. Half of the stuff in the graphical area, you don't need on it anyway because it does not make a difference. You know what I mean? Unless you're looking at it with unless you've got an eye for that, a bionic eye, I must say, and you can really, you know what I mean, noticing, you know what I mean? But what I see the difference is like what you just explained now is the nice steady performance rate. You know what I mean? It's not that's, you know what I mean? If you're getting that on a high-end rig, then that's the performance issues you're talking about. Then fair enough, but I'm not getting that. So if you've got, you know, like an i9 processor, a 380 graphics card, like 64 gig, then it's either your rig or
what are you playing video games on that for, mate? That's an industrial standard. Well,
yeah, this is what I mean. If you've got something like that and you're having performance issues like that, then there's obviously something wrong in it. Because, you know what I mean, my PC altogether now, if I want to sell, like, I must already sell it for $1,000. You know what I mean? And
God, I think we're running in circles a bit on this one. We can agree that people need to say what's in their rig, otherwise basically saying there's low performance is kind of pointless. It's not, this isn't a console. You have to actually provide that info. Which I'm glad so many people on forums do ask for. It's usually the first thing they ask, but on Steam, not that option available, unfortunately. Go on, we've had a bit of chat about the base guys. We've had a chat about Kislev, Grand Cathay, Chaos Gods. How have you found? Have you started any Chaos campaigns?
No, not yet, no.
You're in for a treat.
I'm wanting to try the few bits and bobs first. I'm not gonna be doing full streams with till the end, so I'm just going to be doing 2 or 3 streams of each faction for now. I mean, even if I don't complete it, it's just to get a feel. I mean, so the next stream now will be a Chaos God. I might go to a Chaos God, then go to Ogre Kingdoms, and back to Chaos Gods.
Wasn't impressed by Ogres. I would wait. I really would until they sort out this unit entity moving through units tar pit rubbish. They don't work right. They do not work right.
Well, I'll give that a miss then.
It'll get better. Like, the mechanics are interesting, but I would just hold off until they've got a few more updates in.
Phone, I'm looking forward to play. I like the look of these units. They're kind of like 40k. Some of them look, you know,
it's the demons. The demons are in 40k and Warhammer.
Yeah. So I mean, so they got that. You know, that's a good. I like that look.
They had a really weird mechanic actually based around skulls, which I appreciated, but it really annoyed me because it's like if you want to settle a settlement, you have to pay skulls, and the only way to get them really en masse is by sacking or what's the other one? Raising the settlement. But if you raise it, there is a a tech tree research technology. That's the word. Where it can, like, I think it's 5% chance that it will suddenly become a corn settlement. Like, that just sounds fun, running around raising everything and then it randomly turning into your own settlement. That needs to be in everything.
But yeah, it saves a issue, doesn't it? No, but I do like, sometimes it's nice just to go around burning everything down, isn't it? It's hard work sometimes maintaining settlements, you know, you can't push out, do what you need to do. I think something I might lack sometimes in this game is patience. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's just nice just
Scarbrand does good with that one. He even has a system, there's an actual mechanic, you can summon an army to fight. So it literally just spawns an army for you to destroy, or potentially get destroyed by if you do it in bad situations. But yeah.
that's what I mean. You just want to go in there and, you know what I mean, just cause carnage. You know, that's your job, innit? It's just like,
that needs to be in the orcish stuff as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can just
I
like
mean.
get rid of all your goblins and then just beat them up with your orcs. Regain your fightiness that way.
Well, it's all the things you could add, couldn't it? Which would be fun, and you know. But I got your still up there now. I got all your achievements there. Look on my Steam. There we are.
Yeah, but I think I've only played about 15 hours, something like that. Maybe a bit less.
Win 50 battles during a siege campaign. I guarantee, right? A single campaign. I guarantee that was pissing Cathy. The battle after battle after battle after battle. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Some people think that maybe they're a bit too overpowered. In my opinion,
Scarbrand actually is.
Yeah, I like that. I think in some aspects they should be nerfed to a degree, but the chaos demon lords, they're meant to be powerful, and you know, it's kind of they're from a different realm. You know, when it comes to other.
I think
like high elves, it's just hard to say.
Like when I've played against them, that hasn't been too much of an issue because they're really big targets. You just shoot them.
Yeah.
But when it came to playing as them, the Nurgle one, their ranged attacks actually really powerful and disgusting, which is awesome. But Slaanesh, I was disappointed with. Just the whole Slaanesh roster overall, I thought was very lackluster. But that brings us back to the point of the cavalry. Once the chariots are working, that will hopefully improve. As for Khorne, I'm really 50-50 on, like... As a glass cannon, they worked really, really, really nicely. Shock infantry.
Yeah.
It does feel like they should have more standing power, though. Because I think the Chaos Khorne Marauders, I think they are actually just Marauders in that, or it might be champions. I don't think they were. But they just didn't seem as powerful. Didn't seem to be able to hold it as well as I'd hope.
But I think that's not. I think that's just an aspect with most of the infantry. The only infantry I play with at the moment that seems to hold is the Cathay.
It's poor when peasants are out doing the knights.
Yeah, they you know what I mean. Those peasants can hold the line better than those bloody what do you call them? Kislev. What are they called?
Kossars.
Kossars, that's it. You can hold the line better than them, you know. And I think optimization is needed, as well as, you know, obviously gameplay and that. And I think that needs to be looked at.
One thing that jumped out to me, you know, when you're starting off a campaign, what's it like on Legendary with the amount of money you start with? Because I found on
the money
normal...
is all right. The one thing I like about Legendary campaign is they've taken the what's that thing called when you put upkeep another arm? I tell you what, I have to get my head sort of looked at.
The supply lines.
The supply lines, yes. The supply lines are nothing. To raise another army, you go up around.
Within like a
70.
few turns.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. That's good. But it's still difficult because it's the enemy, especially that far up north. You get laid on pretty quick, like, and then but the time you sorted everything out, it can be really difficult. And then all of a sudden, then the rifts come. And then, you know, it's kind of so Legendary. I think I might go back a little bit till I understand the game, the mechanics of the game, until it gets a bit more optimized. I know certain people can play it regardless, but I am not talented yet.
Oh,
You get what
it's fair enough. I've said it many a time. The way I'd always recommend people play a new Total War: normal, hard, very hard, legendary. Work your way up. Pick the faction you most want to play as for the last one because it's going to be the trickiest, and you will learn the balance of the game as you go. That's kind of always the reason I do it that way.
Kind of like practicing, kind of just basically pretty much for Immortal Empires, like, you know what I mean? I want, when the Immortal Empires comes out, as long as that's decent, I doubt it very much I'll play on this one again. There is no need.
I
never played on Vortex. I had to go on Vortex, but why play on Vortex when you've got a map 3 times the size?
I think if you've never done it, give it a try. It is worth a play. Oh, okay, yeah. As long as you've done it once.
I've done it once, but I didn't complete it all. But I got into it once, and I was thinking, right, once you get to that stage where it's just like, well, the end is inevitable.
Well, in that one, it's not so much because it
time
does,
limit as well, haven't you?
Well, it's like a soft time limit. Basically, you have to just race everyone else to complete the rituals. Otherwise, you have to face up against a ludicrously powerful army. That being said, playing it nowadays when you know what you're doing, it's a lot easier. But first time through, that's a really tricky battle.
Yeah. Well, that's it. So I won. It's kind of like I'm just testing the waters now. So I'll be doing another stream with Kids 11 now Monday, and I'll be on
that's
the
fair
Demon Kings. You
Go
know,
on, so...
I'll just go through you know, see how they all play out.
Well, on the note of how they play out, I brought up the finances because I found in this one you gained a lot of money very, very, very quickly, to the point where I did not struggle whatsoever for cash until like turn 50. And even then, by that point, pretty much all the construction was in to go forward and not care, because it was like I'm just waiting for my high level economic buildings to actually finish construction.
But that's it, isn't it? It's legendary. I don't know if I'm managing the money correctly or incorrectly.
It was due to the money you gain from the missions.
Oh, for the money, the mission, you gain yours for that, don't you?
Yeah,
spend that then,
It breaks, and that's what I was thinking. Like on Legendary, of course, Legendary you have higher upkeep, and also you'll have to deal with more things, so you're spending more money on your armies faster than I would be. I'm guessing it does have some impact, but on normal, you're basically hand over fist. You have no issues.
We're on Legendary. I don't think there isn't much money issues. I think it's down to the player. I screwed it up by losing my army twice. But the thing is, NC,
I did the same.
I'm terrible for it. I don't like to be rude on my streams, right? I'm gonna have to start being a bit more rude. People are answering me questions. I'm trying to answer questions to play a battle. I lose concentration, and that's it, job done. I'm like, oh, right, that's it. So I'm like, sorry guys, I gotta concentrate and ask all the questions after, and I'm bumped. You know what I mean? So if I'm on the screen, that means I'm trying to win this battle. So I did lose 2 armies that way.
I've got a question for you. You might have lost one of them. Have you played the Ice Queen's first like battle for the legendary weapon or armor? Sorry.
No, I don't know. Why?
It's the one against Tzeentch. It's an ambush.
No, I haven't played that yet. No, I was gonna play it. That's a bit overpowered, isn't it?
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah, even looking at it, if I ain't gonna win, huh?
It unlocks so quickly, and it's like you need this is when I learned Cossas suck. You need to have decent units, and it's so fast to unlock. There's no way you're gonna be prepared for it. And you run into this ambush, and just the flamers of Tzeentch is the main one. They just absolutely destroy you.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. And I looked at it and I thought, yep, I ain't doing that yet. I ain't gonna win that. No way. I'm having trouble against an army full of marauders, like, you know what I mean? An army full of marauders running me down and killing me. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm fighting them. I do like to challenge myself on the games. I would like to master and play Legendary, but, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? But I suppose it's kind of like, you've got to enjoy the game as well, haven't you? You've got to enjoy the game, and if you're playing those kind of battles all the time and you're losing, and it can get really bloody frustrating, man. You know, you're sitting there rebuilding your army again and again and again.
I think this is the reason why, like, I've always played. I complete every single, or every single -1. I haven't done Troy yet on Legendary difficulty. Every Total War is. That doesn't annoy me. I've never cared about the AI having cheats. I've never cared about losing and grinding my way to victory. But it's because whenever you lose on the older Total War games, it's always because of this. I can see what I did something stupid, or the AI outmatched me, or in the campaign, whatever. When it came to Warhammer 3, I was even saying it on stream, I feel like I'm playing this wrong. Like, something isn't quite working right.
I get that feeling, bro. It's like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I'm doing something wrong, and they're scratching my head. What am I doing wrong in this game? It just doesn't feel right. I don't feel like I'm playing it right. You know what I mean? It got that different feel to it. I don't know. It just feels like you're stepping on eggshells, isn't it? Around the map, and you're thinking, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? You know what I mean? It's so unpredictable. It's a good thing, but I do get that sense where you're coming from. Is what am I doing wrong in this game? You know what I mean? I've played on these all my life. Well, not all my life, but I've played on these now for the last 15 to 20 years. What on earth am I doing wrong in this game that I've done? I can play on Legendary on Warhammer 2. I mean, not all factions. Some factions I can do, like, but I 100%. It's the main pretty well. This Warhammer 3 though, man, is I played on Legendary on Cafe. I done okay on that. I was well happy with myself on that. Nearly lost all my settlements, but managed to pull it all back. You know, then time I pulled it all back, they all come bloody down again, and it was just a vicious circle over and over again.
But that's the grind. I love that. I love grinding the enemy out. At some point, I will win. It is inevitable. Like, just. Sorry,
I'm trying to push up to the wall because I was the one. I wasn't the lady when I was the bloke one. I was trying to push up to the wall to and I just couldn't get it. I had to fight my way up. And I was enjoying it. And I got a little bit closer today. Yeah, see if I get a bit closer tomorrow. But I do get that sense as, what am I doing wrong in this game? I don't know, I get that feeling that I'm playing it wrong. And I'm glad I know the only one who
that. Yeah, that is the problem with the game. If you lose and you can look at it and think, yes, this is why I did it wrong. I did something stupid. I can't keep up. But the second it's like, this isn't clicking. You can't, because you can't improve. You can't fix it.
Yeah, it's like, I think it might be balanced down to the troops or something, because when we were speaking about the units earlier on with Kislev and that, you're buying these high armor piercing troops, and they lose into units, and you're thinking, well, I've got the best units I can have for the time being. Why are they? What am I doing wrong? Why are they getting? You know what I mean? So I think in some aspects, they come down to that. When I lost a few, that's with Kislev. When I lost a few battles in Cathay, one or two of the things I'd done and I lost my army, I clicked. That's what I was doing wrong. I shouldn't have done that. It's my own bloody fault. You get what I mean? So one or two situations, one was when I was pushing back and I was losing the victory points without even realizing. That's one thing I clicked on. Right, that's what I'm doing wrong. Right, realize that now.
And then the other one was but you know what to do and you can fix it for the next one.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, so next time now, I'm not going to do that. And then the other time when I lost my army, it was my own fault. That's when I had about 6-7 battles in a row. Instead of putting my army back to the main settlement, for some reason, I just stayed there. I ended the turn. And I was getting attacked then, so I tried to retreat. But then I retreated, but then there was so many armies behind them, they were just boom. But lucky enough, I had lightning strike. So I was lightning striking them all.
Yeah, just lightning strike each round.
And then till the point where the only one I had left was my lord. And on my last battle, I had about 3 men. You know what I mean? And literally nothing. And I was doing the lot, and then I just, I was there for about 45 minutes just trying to take them out and using the magic. And then in the end, I got killed. I was there 45 minutes for no point then.
Hey,
then,
this is the grind, man. 45 minutes of wiping out armies, because now you can get in there and take them on before they can replenish.
Yeah, well, that's it. So even though I lost the battle, I pretty much took out 6 to 5 armies. So, you know what I mean, I can start rebuilding. So, but then that's what I thought, well, that's what I done wrong there. I should have pulled it back and should have took them off a bit more, directly then, I suppose. But with Kislev, it's different. It's like, I don't know. They're not my favorite faction on there. It might be different when you get to the better units, but the smaller tier units.
Yeah, the tier 3 units do make up for it, but the fact you have to wait until, like, most factions have at least in level 2, but usually they have at least 1 unit in level 1 that's like, okay, this is good, I can use this. You can replace it, definitely, but you can use it the whole way through. I'm trying to think, like, you have your Skaven slaves are actually really good because of how you use them, rather than actually being any good. You've got your light archers for your high elves. You've got your swordsmen or your spearmen, more, or predominantly for me, for your empire. Like, these are basic units that you can always use, whereas Kossers suck. I can't remember the one up from them is
they're
like speared Kossers. Yep.
They're not cheap. They're not cheap, like, you know.
It's stupid. I must admit, I actually do prefer speared Kossers over the armored ones, which is so wrong. But I find that the fact that they're speared does help against the cavalry, and
when they're flanking, I clicked onto that.
Well, the fact that they're an arrow means you can then fire over the top of units. That's useful.
They're anti-large as well, aren't they? So that's with the thing as well. So that does help when it comes around.
I think we've done to death a fair bit of our hatred of Kossers, and I might just put that as like the thumbnail for this, just a Kosser dying.
Yeah. But if you want to, thing, like guys, if there's anything like with performance and that we've been talking about today, be a bit more specific. What performance issues are you having? What is it? Is it your gameplay? Is it this? Is it that? Be specific what you are. So
it's mostly just for the reviews. Like, as I said, like on Reddit, on forums, people are getting into those details. But if you're putting up a review saying there's performance issues on a game, more details. What is the issue? Where's it coming in? What is your rig? Because that is important when it comes to PCs.
The rig is important, guys. So have a look at what your rig. You can go. There's websites out there that give you benchmarks on your CPU, your rig, etc. You might have a really, really good graphics card. If you haven't got a good CPU, your graphics card ain't going to work 100%, and vice versa. Yeah, it's called a bottlenecking, I think. So just have a look at your rig, what you got, and don't worry too much about the highest settings. I'm not playing on the highest settings. I've played on the highest settings, and there is not much difference, guys. There is not much difference at all. You know what I mean?
I'd wait for the mods for that.
Is that?
You want it to look best. Every Total War game has always looked best from mods. There'll be some really good texture packs brought out eventually.
Texture packs, lighting packs, everything like that will bring the colour out. That won't put no more things. So just be patient, and like I say, is just like if you're going to put a review in, tell the developers what your problem is, what this is, you know what I mean, and go from there.
Yeah, go on. Let's try to bring in. We have one thing left to talk about from my lovely penciled list. Super prepared for this one. But basically, the rifts themselves, the actual mechanic of that campaign is all about going in, closing rifts, and getting the souls of the demons.
Yeah.
How are you finding them? Just start.
First time I done it, I was confused as hell. Really confused. I done the battles on Together Blood. I was in
You're
Corn.
into Corn ones, yeah.
Yeah, the Corn one, yeah. Then I got to the Brass Gates. Is it the Brass Gates? Yeah, something. The Brass.
Slanesh one.
Yeah. Got to the final battle. My army was pretty depleted by that time, but I made it stupid. I know what I'd done. I know what I'd done. Because it is one, you get those little things on each side, don't you, which gives you extra this, extra that. You know what I mean? But there was one there that replenishes your army to full health. Well, I used that a bit too early.
Yes.
So then so when I did go into the final battle, I couldn't use it again, look. So I was thinking, well, next time I'll do my battles, ready for the last battle, then I'll replenish, then go to the last battle. And I got run over. Yeah, terrible. Like I got rinsed, man. I got rinsed. And
I blame the Colossus.
I got absolute rinsed. I was still left with my Dragonlord. This was with Cathay. And I was doing the same there. I was using the Spear of Bane or something like that it's called to thing them down. But then I got through the first one, got to the second one, and for the love of God, I could not get past the third one. And there was no enemy there. I was just flying around, thinking, well, where's the enemy? Waiting for the fire to come down so I could push through. And I was scared, what am I doing wrong? There'll be something I'm doing wrong. I was looking around the map for other troops to see if there's troops in trees and this and that.
What's this on? Is this on the prologue battles?
No, on the actual Rift battles on the
third one. Oh, like the blood keep.
Yeah, when you go into the rifts.
I'm with you. Okay.
When you claim when you claim the souls up. So then you obviously you go up to each defensive position to know. That's what happened to me.
I was thinking of like the campaign map for the Rift, and I was like, wait, what? You're flying around? Where are we?
No. Actually,
I'm with
the
you.
Rift itself, thinking, and in the end, then I was just like, I don't know what to do. I was flying around for 20 minutes. Nothing was happening. I was like, I changed him back into a man because maybe I thought, does he need to be capturing a capture point? The capture point wouldn't capture. I don't know if it was a bug, it crashed. I don't know what happened.
That sounds like a bug or something, because the lords should be able to capture things.
Yeah, so obviously when I went through the first one, killed all the enemy lords, killed all the things. Captured the first one, the flames come down. Went into the second one, used my cheesiness to bring them all down. Killed all them, pulled him back into a lord, put him down, and that was it. Nothing happened. I was then going around the map. So I haven't really had much of experience in it. I kind of get the mechanics of it, what you've got to do.
I haven't finished any of them.
No,
I haven't finished any of them. I've fought a few of them now. I've done the one for Corn. On stream, I did the one for Corn, and we just didn't do it. I did the same thing you did. I healed too early and then just couldn't keep going. Bosses. Yeah. And then when it came to Slanesh, someone, I think it was Nurgle, finished it before I could, so I only was in there for a turn. And I can't remember if I got into the Nurgle one or not, but they all got closed so quickly, I didn't even get to see what happens. And then doing it off stream, I managed to have a little bit of a bash, but even then, it was kind of, as you said, the first time you go in, even though there's a little bit of a tutorial, it doesn't really explain what to do.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't explain, right? If you need to go here, to go there, go there, go there, go there.
It's the little things, as you said, you can heal. It's like, what? I could heal? When did this happen? That would have been very useful. You can do this, but only once.
Yeah, only once.
And you can do it in the words, gain the gift of the gods, but...
Yeah. And the arms, because they open so early, right?
Yes, way too early.
Way too early. Those armies in it are so random. You've got rats or dinosaurs. And some of them are bloody difficult.
Particularly if you're on... Because it's like... God, I'm trying to remember how far in. I think it actually might have been 30 odd, maybe 50 at max turns in, you get your first Rith.
Yeah.
That's too early in most campaigns. You're not going to be built up to take on those, as you said, very tricky armies. I was going up against the Wood Elves, and they had high-end, thankfully it was the trees and not the elves, but they had high-end units in there.
Yeah.
What the
And
heck
you're
are we
stuck
supposed
here
to
with
do?
spearmen and...
Really Cossers. Cossers and cavalry that not all suck.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't even have a bear at that point.
I come up against an army of I'm gonna call them T-Rexes from the thing, because what they called
It's not the Stego.
T-Rex. No, the T-Rexes from the
feral
T-Rexes. Yeah, then
annoying me now.
Carnosaurs.
Yeah.
An army of Carnosaurs, rats, and some other things.
Well, I suppose they needed some food while they were going forward.
And I mean, I was thinking, that is a random army. I was thinking before I fought this, and this is just after I'd done another battle.
But you could build
I managed to win the battle, but the time I went into my army was so depleted. The first lot just, and I was staring at, yeah, I could win this. They were coming from everywhere, and I was just like, wow. So yeah, so I think that needs to be sorted to a degree. I like it; it's good.
It needs smoothing out. I think those
it needs
ones.
smoothing out. It's because we all want to go into the chaos things, and I suppose. But
for me, I think it's scaling. As you said, those armies early on are a challenge. Later on in the game, that's pretty doable. Top tier units,
easily doable, yeah.
But it should scale with it.
So what I done on the Kislev one now, I haven't even bothered going in it. I ain't gonna win because I know the causes are crap, so I just closing them down. So it just keeps, so they leave me alone. But then I've got one army now to the left of me, a Slanesh army, and that looks stupid powerful. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'm going to win that. I don't even. I got one in front of me. I should win that, but I pretty much got an army of Corsairs, which I'm regretting right now because I'm thinking, that is just not going to work. So we'll just give it one more stream and we'll leave it there.
That's fair enough. Well, we've mentioned a lot of the issues, the teething problems. The one thing I think was phenomenal from this one was the outpost system, allied recruitment and outposts.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I didn't. I don't know what. I never allied. I never fought a military allies.
There was no reason to do it before.
But now they're useful. They're blimmin' useful now because you know what I mean. It was one point in the Cathay stream. I borrowed an army, and that army helped. Yeah, borrowed an army. I needed an army to go up because all the hordes were coming down. I had one army on the left. I needed to cover the right side where they were coming through. So I used that army to go up. And yet I lost because they caught me, but I didn't care. It's not my army. Do you know what I mean? By the time I done that, I was able to counter that army with the army I was building, which slowed them right down. So it did help, and military alliances are useful now.
Even without the army system, as we've been saying, like the infantry for Kislev is so poor. I was relying on recruiting dwarves. I was recruiting Empire, like great swords and long beards. That was my infantry. I was using everyone but ours.
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean. I haven't really. The only time I've really used it at the moment, so I'm going to allies or anything like that at the moment. Well, I have, but they're all Kislev allies. Was Grand Cathay allies.
I'm looking forward to getting them as allies, actually.
Yeah. But I was Grand Cathay at the time anyway. So building an outpost in their outposts, I found pretty pointless. Because when I had a look at what they had...
It gives additional defenses. Like, that is the one... Well, yeah, for theirs. If they build them in yours...
settlement, yeah. Because it helps me.
Thank you. We're not doing it back.
Yeah. No, but the ability to do that is brilliant because that's what allies are there for. to help you out, to reinforce you. You know what I mean? That's what they're there for. And now it gives now the ability to have military alliances that actually bloody work, and not just don't drag you into wars. You get what I mean?
Well, also
Just
that even if they did, you don't actually want to like say no because you want to keep those outposts. You've put they're very expensive, those outposts, like $3,000, 4,000 to get them, but you actually want them for the troops, so it's worthwhile trying to maintain them.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. But that's it. You know what I mean? I mean, I was getting friendly with some of the ogre kingdoms. I was going to build an outpost in there. I seen what I would get to build the outpost, but there was nothing special, so I didn't bother spending the money because they are expensive. Now, if they had a wide variety of military troops there I could have picked from, then it's worth spending the money. You know what I mean? But they had their last settlements. They were at war. It looked like they were close to defeat. You know what I mean? And
just thinking, we'll have to do a check at some point. I might give it a go myself. Because the first outpost gives you access to anything in that region, and then the second one gives you access to anything in the faction. Does that include camps? Because with ogres, a lot of their stuff will come from camps.
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure, so I'm going to have to check that out. But what they were offering was something that I wasn't willing to spend the money on anyway. If they had a full variety of, if I could, pretty much get right into, not even high tier units, but mid tier units, I would have. It's worth spending the money because they are expensive. They're about 3,500 each, something like that. And but dwarfs, I'd love to have dwarfs in the army. I love dwarfs. They're good, decent units. They are.
I was a little annoyed I didn't have access to any artillery. It was just the infantry.
Dwarf. Yeah, well, that's it. Hopefully, fingers crossed in time now that you can imagine now in the Immortal Empires, you're a elf faction, and you've got an army of dwarfs, an army of elves, an army of empire. I kind of hope that doesn't
happen. Just for the lore, that shouldn't happen.
It's a lore, yeah, but you know what I mean. At the end of the day,
just make it so it's
Lord of the Rings, so I'm happy with
difficult
it.
to get them in.
Yeah, there was elf and dwarfs were friends in Lord of the Rings, so I'm happy.
Only at the end, Gimli was friends with Legolas, but even they had to point out, I never thought I'd die with a dwarf. How about a friend?
Yeah.
That I can do.
Yeah, there we are. Nice. So, yeah, I think we got a lot to look forward to. So don't be too bummed yet, guys. Don't be too bummed.
Well, even there, I think they've done a lot of good stuff with this.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
I think, as I said, that the only issues, really, the ones that are actually causing me genuine problems are just those balancing issues and getting the cavalry. What do they do to cavalry?
Cavalry has been crap all the way through, haven't they? The only cavalry I ever found useful was the bow boys in the oak greenskins. They were decent cavalry.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah.
I can remember.
Well, cavalry in Warhammer 2 are better than Warhammer 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember at least with the top tier stuff, obviously Bretonnia, but also looking at the Blood Knights, looking at I've forgotten the name of them. No, Cold One Riders. I always found they were, for the price of them, very good.
So they were better, and they're more of a nuisance than anything else, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because you're having to, they're more of a nuisance, because they always come in a bloody round and you're having to split it. So they weren't very good, but they're more of a nuisance. But in Warhammer 3, I think they're really awful. I used 2 cavalry units yesterday. That was the low tier Kislev ones. To take out 2 of the Marauder horses. I took them out.
I had 4 units of Kislev basic cavalry charge into 1 unit of Nurgle from all sides. Proper sandwich. Didn't even half strength. Just barely did a thing. And it's like, mate, those are Nurglings. Yeah.
It's frustrating, and then I don't think it's we're doing anything wrong. I think it's a game. It's with Warhammer 2, I know what units to fight against. What units, I know what's good in what situation. I know this. I know what, but in the end, it's all new now again. It feels all new again, doesn't it? You get what I mean? And
New,
it's kind
but not good. Like
Yeah,
at least when you
new,
got
but-
Warhammer 2, yeah, it was a bit out of balance, but the game still worked and it was still darn good fun. This one, I can understand the disappointment in this one because it really does feel like the balance just ain't there.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe
Well,
we're just
that's-
playing it terribly. Very possible.
Yeah, I'd put that down. Playing it. I'm playing it bloody terribly at the moment, but I will get better.
Go on, we'll have to wait and see because we've gone quite over time. I was expecting it for this one though because there's a lot to get through on this, and no doubt we will be coming back to this when a few more of those updates, those patches go through. To everyone, if you haven't done the patch yet, be warned, it is brutal. It was a very long download. Good luck.
I don't think mine's downloaded.
I've got a feeling my Steam just bug it up, but yeah, it took what we've been 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, of which about maybe an hour because I kind of set it to download and then walked away and didn't realize that it said there wasn't enough space until later.
Says mine's up to date. I must have.
Well, that should all be good then. It'll be ready to give it a butcher's. But we're gonna have to call it there because gotta make a run. Keep away. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Thank you everyone for tuning to check out. Tell us what you think of Total Warhammer 3 in the comments.
Write down below, guys. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all soon.
Peace out.
Keep it frosty.